ESPN just shared their financial numbers for 2025. Some people are excited about how much money the Southeastern Conference, SEC, is making, but it's actually not as impressive when you compare it to what Big Ten schools are projected to earn here soon. But first, let's start with the SEC. What's happening with them and ESPN? So the SEC shared on Thursday that they had $1.03 billion in total funds to its school this year. That's more than 200 million. That's more than a 200. That's more than they had last year. About a 200 million jump from last year. Because the SEC filed their taxes earlier in the Big Ten, they are technically the first conference to cross the $1 billion threshold. So good for them, of course. Congrats, Sankey. Great job, whatever. The amount distributed from the conference office, including bowl revenue retained by participants, averaged $72.4 million for each school with full year financial participation. Obviously, Texas and Oklahoma didn't get all of that because they're just brand new. But of course, this all sounds great and good for the SEC. But here's the issue. Many national media members are avoiding talking about all the things around it because they love to bow down and prop up the SEC. But just because the SEC made a lot of money doesn't mean that ESPN did as well. You see, it's really important for ESPN to make money as the SEC makes more money as well, because ESPN is the one foot in the bill here. They're the ones paying the rights fees. They're the ones paying SEC, so that way they can put the games on their network. The one paying to broadcast and stream the games. But if they don't make money, they won't pay more money for the SEC, which is what's happening here a little bit. All right. You can go check these numbers yourself. Go out there and look for it. They're out there. I mean, at ESPN, they share it and it's all out there. ESPN pays the SEC a lot of money in rights fees to broadcast their games on TV and streaming. And they paid them a lot more this time, which is why the SEC started making more. This includes every SEC football game, their own SEC network channel, and games from new teams like Texas and Oklahoma. ESPN has been in this deal for 2 seasons now. We know this because Disney, the owner of ESPN, has also released their latest earnings report in the sports part, which is mostly ESPN. I mean, that's pretty much what Disney has there at ESPN. That part only grew their incoming money, also known as their revenue, by 1% compared to last year. In the TV world, that's a tiny, tiny bit of growth. But the bigger issue for them is that ESPN's costs are skyrocketing, especially the rights fees. They're paying for college football. In simple terms, ESPN is spending more money to show SEC games, but they're not making much more money. It's bad business. Their revenue increased, but not enough to justify continuing to spend on the SEC, because right now they have all the SEC content that's available to them with Texas, Oklahoma added to them. They have their own network and everything else. Now, perhaps they could do more with the content in the future, or they could spend less on the rights fees. And but the numbers Disney is giving us, if they're correct, which I assume they are, if they're correct, I don't see them increasing what they're going to pay to the SEC anytime soon, at least substantially. This means the profits for the SEC deal aren't growing like ESPN hoped, and they signed the contract. So ESPN has basically squeezed all of the profit they can from the SEC, and the SEC's fans are passionate, which makes, a lot of them watch down south and everything. That helps with ratings and the numbers people are tuning in for it and everything. But it's not just about tuning into this huge it's not just about eyeballs tuning in that creates a huge extra profit for ESPN anymore. The costs are too high and the growth has stopped. So ESPN can't rely on the SEC alone for future money making, which is why I referenced in a previous video about the Big Ten's future with Fox and Big Noon Kickoff. That's where the Big Ten comes in as a better opportunity. The Big Ten, 18 schools spread across the country, nationwide footprint, we've talked about this, has been making more money per school, and that trend only looks like it's going to continue. Our current, the Big Ten's current TV deal is with networks like Fox, NBC, CBS, and the streaming platform, which is with NBC, Peacock, right? That ends in 2030. We'll see late. We will see later on in May what the numbers are for this deal, because, like I said, the Big Ten, they filed their taxes in May. Excuse me, the SEC, they filed theirs in February, so they technically get it back. But we'll see what these numbers add up to be in May. I'm expecting anywhere from probably 75 million to 80 million for each Big Ten school, with the Big Ten surpassing the $1 billion threshold as well. But this deal for the Big Ten ends 4 years before the SEC's deal does with ESPN, which ends in 2034. This timing is huge. The Big Ten gets to negotiate a new deal first, and multiple networks will compete to pay the Big Ten for their games. They've already seen how valuable the Big Ten content is. Fox is already announcing that in 2025 they achieved record-breaking ad revenue for college football regular season. Look, I'm just going to go on and guess Colorado wasn't the record breakers this year. Okay, it wasn't Colorado. It was Big Ten. Right, Big Ten is where they put all their money at. It's where they have all their games at. Big noon kickoff, all that stuff. So why is the Big Ten so much more valuable, even though they have worse TV ratings during the regular season? Well, when you look at the media markets they're in, the Big Ten has teams in massive cities, right? Los Angeles, the New York area, Chicago, Philadelphia, Detroit, Minneapolis. I mean, Columbus. It's not the largest media market in the world, but boy, do they love their football. They are always watching their football out there. In Madison, that's over 60 million people in key areas where big companies want to be advertising. The SEC is strong in the South, no doubt about that. They're strong in the South, but it doesn't reach the big kind of coastal city to city as the Big Ten is able to do. Big Ten games attract viewers from all over the country, often wealthier, often more diverse. That means that they can advertise national high-end products that will yield more of a profit for them. This makes the Big Ten audiences more attractive to advertisers. Maybe there's less of them, but they're still more attractive to advertise to. Who pay higher rates to help reach those people. So plus, Big Ten deals work well across TV, streaming, and other platforms, helping networks generate more revenue. It's not just about raw viewership numbers and who watches the most. The SEC often has the highest rated regular season games because of their dedicated Southern fans, right? If you look at, for example, a big SEC game in a place like Tuscaloosa, Alabama, or Baton Rouge, where LSU is, they draw huge local crowds. They might have some national crowds too, because of the magnitude of the game, if it's a big ranked matchup or something like that. But the home base of the viewership is more targeted, right? It's more reliable. It's more consistent. So those numbers don't always mean more profit for the network. Why? Because profits depend on things like demographics, right? Who are your viewers? Age, income, race, location, all those types of things. Ad efficiency, how well do ads perform, and how much networks can charge for those ads, right? Cross-platform engagement. How many people are watching on TV? How many people are watching on an app? How many people are watching on their computer, online, whatever, their tablet, whatever it might be. And you also got cost per viewer. How much it costs for the network to get each person watching compared to what they earn. The Big Ten excels here. This is where they knock it out of the park. This is where they kill it. Their games reach people in high value markets, so networks make better margins, also known as profits, even if the total viewers aren't always the absolute highest. National reporters often, say, "Oh, the SEC has the top watched games, the best games, all these things," without ever explaining the bigger picture of it all. I mean, I hate to call people out, but they do it all the time. It's guys like Andy Staples, Stuart Mandel, Zach Barnett. They are, honestly, these guys are kind of the worst about it. And they know they're doing it. They know what they're doing. Honestly, I hate to say, like, don't listen to them. I'm not advocating for you to, like, stop listening to them or anything. But I would just say to be careful what you hear and see, and make sure you do your own research as well. Obviously they're going to produce content, and that's what they're supposed to do. But make sure you do your own research outside of that as well. Concentrated viewership in one region doesn't always translate into higher profits when rights fees are already so expensive. The SEC is stuck until ESPN until 2034, and can't easily switch or create their own TV setup to make more money. Their games are popular, but it's mostly tied to traditional TV bundles, and it's hard to grow beyond that. The Big Ten is different. We've shown that we can add real value to multiple networks. Experts predict that experts predict the Big Ten's last deal correctly, and now they're saying that starting in 2023, it could be north of $2 billion, how much they're able to make off of this per year. So with 18 total schools, that means schools are possibly going to receive, close to 100 million payout and stuff like that per school each year, just from the new TV deal. So for comparison, right now in 2025, Big Ten schools are getting about 70 to 80 million each year from the current deal, which is ramping up. I don't think it'll be all the way down at 70. I still think that your average school in the Big Ten will make more than the average school in the SEC. That's more than what the SEC is getting today. Reports from May 2025 showed the Big Ten was a little bit lower than that, but you can expect that to grow, get higher. And now with all 18 teams and new game times, it's even higher. ESPN's recent numbers show that networks are still willing to pay big top dollar for the top sports content, but the SEC deal is squeezing their profits. This makes the Big Ten's projection look even better. We could exceed expectations. We could get even higher than some of the stuff that I'm talking about here. We'll see, because right now the projections only include the current setup of the conference by 2030. Our four newest schools, they get full shares. Yes, that'll impact things. The conference, span across the country, proven national appeal. But what if the Big Ten adds more, right? What if the Big Ten gets into Florida? What if they get in North Carolina? What if they get into Texas? What if they nab Texas A&M or something like that? This extra money helps with real things that make the conference strong. Upgrading stadiums, better facilities, keeping top-notch coaches, sharing revenue with athletes, supporting name, image, and likeness deals where players earn from their fame, funding non-football sports, and making the Big Ten the best all-around overall conference. The SEC wants to cap things like NIL and stuff like that. They want to try to get Congress involved and cap things because they're revenue sharing, because they know they can't compete in the future. The Big Ten will have the most money, which will give them the best players, the best coaches, and the SEC news proves that the college football TV market, it's expanding, it's getting ready, it's looking great. So, but it also shows that you can't keep milking one network either forever without hurting profits. ESPN will need fresh, high profit content to balance their costs. The one problem is that they're battling with the Big Ten. And when decision makers start looking at the projections, they're going to see the Big Ten has far more to offer and will already be set up for success, while the SEC will be the little shop on the corner that wants to expand, but only has hope to sell to those people that possibly expand to. So the competition between the conferences, it isn't over. Now it's about smart location advantages, diverse markets, and timing the negotiations just right. The Big Ten isn't trying to copy the SEC. They're creating a winning model that offers that others will have to follow as well.